Hello guys, how you doing? JG, and well, unfortunately not with his cup of tea. I am at a different location, as you can probably tell from where I'm normally at when I record these. I'm actually in David Lloyd Cafe, just doing a bit of work on my lappy tappy there. So it's bottle of water with JG today, not quite as catchy a title. Anyway, hope you're good. Thanks for joining. You're checking in. Mark, hey, how you doing? Before we get on to the mysterious title, as I'm always doing on these, I want you to let me know, or again, just think for yourself, 3 things. What should we do today? Let's do 3 things you're grateful for. It was something that particularly was poignant for me today on the kind of guy right behind me. It's the tennis court behind. Just like people photobombing my live vid, man. I did it, you sort of. Anyway, I digress. So gratitude is always something that I'm making a conscious effort to remind myself of things that I appreciate, or people, things that I appreciate in the here and now. And I'm kind of, because this is completely tied up with what I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to go straight into it now. The topic of today is to not fall into that kind of pitfall of allowing your future goals and ambitions and things that you're striving for in the future to make you unhappy or miserable in the now. Now, don't get me wrong. When I'm talking about this, I'm a massive proponent of striving and setting goals and making the most of your life and getting after your dreams. 100%. And I think this is potentially something, somewhat of an issue that's really only in the population of ambitious people and people that are really getting after it. And what I'm talking about is that while you're in the process of making these things happen, you don't want to slip into that pitfall of kind of feeling that you're going to be unhappy now until you attain those things, whatever it is, whether it's a relationship, whether it's money, whether it's a job, blah blah blah. It's that dream house. It doesn't really matter. If you either intentionally or unintentionally end up, what you said about got flavor about here. No, don't worry, that's fine. So yeah, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you end up kind of motivating yourself with that kind of stick method, and that kind of mentality that I have to get those things, I need to get to that place, I have to achieve those goals because I hate my current reality, I don't want to be here. And that may well be true to a certain extent, as in you may not be happy in the job that you're in, it may not be ideal, it might be really stressful, same as, I don't know, with a relationship, or you might not be happy with your financial situation. However, I just feel like using that mentality, as much as there are inherent benefits to that, as in I think it really provokes, stimulates actual action taking, because if you get into that state where you sort of just, you're not happy, you're not overjoyed by what you're doing, but you're not unhappy enough to stop doing it, so you end up in this kind of just middle ground where you just don't end up making any change or taking any action. However, even if you are unhappy or not completely content with where you are at the minute, there's almost always one aspect or a couple of aspects of your life that you can be happy about and that you could be grateful for, that you could appreciate. And what I mean in the kind of overriding theme through this is that if we're always moving the goalposts anyway. You know, how many times have you got to a goal, achieved it, and then you're already thinking about the next thing? You know, it's great for a couple of days, whatever, and you're like, all right, well, I want to do this now. So don't kind of delude yourself into thinking that it'll all be fine and okay once I get this thing. Is that you have to make the conscious choice to be happy or find happiness, find the things that you're grateful for in the here and now, and get into that state of contentment before pursuing those other goals. And I had a personal first-hand experience of this today. There's a lot of things that I'm getting after, and I'm really excited about doing them, and I'm really motivated and stuff like that. But I started to get a bit stressed, and I'm juggling so many things, and they're all things I want to do. But I was just going, oh God, like I don't know if I've, biting off more than I can chew here or whatever, and I started to feel myself getting sucked into that. Oh, but I have to get these things. I have to get these things because it'll mean X, Y, and Z. And I was actually outside on the lawn, and it was a beautiful day. Sun was shining, blue skies, and I'm just lying there listening to some music, and I'm looking up at the sky, and I didn't plan this, but I just started to think about all the stuff that just right now, despite everything that's happening, everything that's happened, all the stuff, because yeah, I'm sure we could all say that there's always some stuff that we ain't overjoyed about. We're not screaming from the rooftops. Of course, yeah, what's wrong is always available, but like Tony Robbins says, so is what's right. And that's just kind of naturally where my mind started going, and I actually got really emotional in a really good way, thinking about all this stuff I am truly and sincerely massively grateful for that I have, especially the people that I have in my life. I've got some incredible friends and family. I got to go over to Rainhill on Saturday, and it's great because I get to catch up with people, not just from around these ends, but from friends from around the country and down south, and it just reminded me, seeing them all and speaking to people on the phone, now the new connections and the new relationships I'm building through the Athlete Fix podcast, it just kind of like bam, whammo, just hit me. I was like, man, I am wealthy now, and no, I'm not. Well, not that. Gonna make it sound like I'm poor as hell. No, I'm doing all right financially. Not that it's anything to do with that, but what I mean is, like, wealth is so much more than when it just comes down to money, And how many people do you know who are millionaires, billionaires, and who are miserable as hell? And like, would you trade the life that you have just for financial gain? The relationships that you have in your life, whether it's in your family, whether it's your friends. Like, I wouldn't, if I had the choice, I wouldn't give them away for any sum of money. I wouldn't exchange it for anything. When you see movie stars, you see celebs, you see singers, and it's just like incontrovertible truth from witnessing those people that money doesn't buy you happiness. Yeah, of course, it's a part of it. I think we'd all like to be, at least have financial security and, and not be stressed out from that end of things. But it is just not the source of all happiness at all. And so the main point I want to get across to you when from doing this is to remind yourself how wealthy you are. And if you're, and I promise you there are things there, if you're, I know it can be difficult if you're swept up in a stressful situation or whatever it may be, to maybe turn your attention to those things. But if you really think, and they might not be things that you've been focusing on a while because you've been so preoccupied with and reacting to stuff, but I promise you they're there. And it doesn't mean that it's a either or. You're not focusing on the things and going, okay, well I don't need screw those goals. I don't need to do anything to kind of like achieve my goals in the future. No. It's not one or the other. If anything, you'll probably feel propelled to go and do those things from a much stronger, happier state than from a place of inspiration rather than from a place of desperation. Like, I freaking have to get these things or my life is over. Do you know what I mean? So that's it. So I'm just gonna sip on my water now, and that's it. Yeah. Oh, you're still here? Oh, okay. I'll carry on then. What time am I on? Oh, pretty much coming up to time anyway. Honestly, I could talk about this stuff all day, so if you are watching this and you fancy talking about it more, feel free to drop me a message. I'm always up for a chat. And and like I always say on these episodes as well, 100%, if you need to talk about anything, I'm here. Even if you don't know me, you can message me, drop me a private message. I don't want anybody feeling alone and this is part of the motivation for doing these videos, is that I know a lot of people are sitting, and we talked about invisible battles last time, a lot of people are sitting with some serious stuff and maybe don't feel like they have a voice or somebody that they feel like they can kind of share those things with. And if I don't know you, or if I do, either way, it's something that's really near and dear to my heart, in making sure that people are reminded of their innate worth and reminded that we are all in this together. That's why I started the journey page, and why I'm constantly sort of threading in there that theme is that we're all on this journey of life together, whatever walk of life you're from, however our goals, our religious beliefs, our genders, all those differences, none of those things separate us, and we're all in this together. And it's so easy to, like, I think sometimes is that if you get really stressed and you get swept up in minor things, they might seem like major things, but like with all that stuff, if you take a big step back, you kind of, everything that's unimportant in the grand scheme of things really falls by the wayside. Think about this, and this will maybe illustrate what I mean by that. Have you ever been thinking about, I've got to pay this freaking, like, car broke down, I've got to pay the MOT, then I've got this bill, then I've got to paint the wall, and I've got to fix the microwave, and then and so there's all that drama with her or him or whatever, blah blah, and then you get a text from, say, one of your friends who is in hospital. Instantly, what's important becomes completely on the surface, and all that other crap, the dramas, the petty things, like that isn't what you're thinking about. And so, trying to facilitate that kind of mentality, be able to recruit it at those times when you feel like you're getting overwhelmed and swept up in, in the midst of things, I think is a really powerful tool. And I think it's often that we're only snapped out of things when we're hit unexpectedly by those very dramatic events, and I believe that it is something that we should on a routine basis kind of be almost putting ourselves in that state, reminding ourselves of what is of the utmost importance in life, and that, you know, regardless of all the stuff that happens and things that go your way or that don't go your way, at the end of the day, and this might come across a bit morbid, it's really not, I don't mean it that way at all, but, you know, life is short. It really is, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but you think we're actually quite lucky as human beings given the time that we have on this planet. I mean, think about insects. They're barely here before they're gone again. You know, so we've got like I truly believe that, you know, that reminding yourself that life is short isn't something to kind of upset you, and if it is, I'm sorry, I don't mean that. If anything, it's quite the opposite. I think when you remind yourself that our time is limited and it's not this existence isn't eternal, it kind of puts things in perspective, you know, and helps to not sweat the small stuff. Yeah. So anyway, we're coming up to the 20-minute mark. I hope you guys found that useful. As I said before, and if you've just joined us, I extend out that invitation that if you ever want to talk, I'm always here for you guys. Fist bump, we're in it together, and let me know as well, like, if there's anything in particular you'd like me to kind of maybe like hear my opinions on or talk about or whatever, or stuff that's been troubling you. Like, if I can help in any way, that's the kind of whole reason I'm doing this. I would love to be of service to you, honestly. So please don't hesitate in asking me. I'd love to help you out as much as I can. Anything else? Think about a couple of things you're looking forward to this week. Think about what you'd like to get out of this week. Think of some outcomes. That guy's still there. Yeah, that's it. So take care, guys. All the best, and we'll see you next time on Cuppa Tea with JG.